Northern paganism, Baba Yaga unveiled. I take a minute to clarify something because a question was asked to me. A seemingly valid question for someone who hasn't read this book. Anybody who has already purchased and read this book already knows the answer to this question. But it's a seemingly valid question, so I want to clarify what the question was. What does the Baba Yaga, seemingly Wiccan, have to do with Odinism? The seemingly valid question until you read the book, and then you'll understand 100%. It's like saying, what does the Blood Eagle have to do with Odinism? What does the Gundastrup Cauldron have to do with Odinism? What do witches have to do with Odinism? After all, isn't that what the Baba Yaga is? Nothing more than a witch, and witches are Wiccan, aren't they? Aren't they? Seemingly valid. Until you read the book and then you understand. But, and I cannot address my answer to the neo-pagan Odinist who doesn't abide by the spirit of Odin, self oneself greater. If the Odinism that people practice is nothing more than backing out an Abrahamic bus and pulling in an Odinic bus, and they have some overruling patriarchal father god that they hail Odin to, and their intelligence comes from memes and sound bites, I can't help you. It's impossible. Odin and the principle and the spirit of Odin of self oneself greater, consuming knowledge, growing in wisdom, becoming Angantyr. Angantyr. Who is Angantyr? I haven't addressed that in any of my published books yet. It's in the works. Angantyr is the mighty sage. It's the Old Norse equivalent of the druid and the shaman. The anointed Tyr. Anointed by who? Mother Goddess. Name me one time in all of our lore where Mother Goddess Freya and God Odin, husband and wife, have a disagreement where Odin is correct. Now, what do witches have to do with Odinism? That's Wiccan. Well, this is what I'm trying to show you in my writings. As I said, we all know what Christianity has done. We all know what the cults of Abraham have done. Have we? Do we really know what they have done? Yes, well, I do. But let me flip to this poetic Edda by Henry Adams Bellows. Okay, if we go to the Harbaldsjöth. Now, first off, people think, well, Harbard is Odin, because that's what we're told. That's what we're told by Abrahamic translators right here, that Harbard is Odin. Wrong. Wrong. Harbard is Loki. And this is a conversation taunting and antagonistic between Thor and Loki. Now, and I will be proving this in my writings, showing you unequivocally that Harbard is Loki. Now, if it is Odin, then you have got to explain and justify why Thor then calls his own father, Odin, right? The overruling patriarchal father god of Odinism, why he calls him effeminate. Because in Harbaldsjöth, stanza 27, thou womanish Harbarth. That's exactly how it starts. So here you have Thor, mighty Thor, calling Harbard effeminate. And the word is ragi. And it means craven or cowardly, emasculate, and effeminate. So first off, you have to explain that. Now, but that has nothing to do with witches. I just wanted to explain that. Now, witches, though, And we go back to stanza 20, same book. Much lovecraft I wrought with them who ride by night. Okay, and then you go down to the little footnote in the Abrahamic translation, and it says, riders by night, witches who were supposed to ride on wolves in the dark. Nothing further is known of this adventure. Let me tell you this right now. That is not referring to witches. Not at all. But it's in this part. It's in this book. This is not referring to witches. It's what they have been made to be by Abrahamic translators. Now, let's go a little further. Because, as well, we see that in that very same book, Thor, right here, stanza 37, Thor says, in Lyci, the brides of berserkers slew I. Most evil they were, and all they betrayed. Wives of berserkers? Berserkers. Bear shirt wearers. The warriors of Odin. Thor slew their wives? Does that make any sense? No. No, it makes about as much sense as Harbard being Odin and being called effeminate by Thor. What does this book have to do with Odin and Odinism? Well, if you read it, you'll know. In this book, what does the Gundestrup Cauldron have to do with Odin? It's in this book. The Gundestrup Cauldron. Odin is on the Gundestrup Cauldron, which was found in Denmark, but everybody thinks, all scholars think that it was a Celtic design. But it was found in Denmark. As well, on page 9, to finish off this video, we put a timeline at the bottom of the page. For tens of thousands of years, northern paganism existed before any of the religious cults of Abraham did. Tens of thousands of years. As a matter of fact, I even put some drawings in here of some of the old stonework of Mother Goddess. She's called the Venus of La Salle or the Venus of Willendorf and things like this, but she dates back tens of thousands of years. And there's other cave art that is even older than her. That's in our books. But in this timeline at the bottom of page 9, we begin after the tens of thousands of years comes up to where the cults of Abraham were invented. Okay, we have the first one, Old Testament, 550 BCE. And then we go up through the Viking era. Okay, we have all the psalteries that were created. We have the Viking era ends around the 13th century. And then we put Macbeth in here. And then the Baba Yaga's first reference, and we go all the way up to 2005 to show that the attack is ongoing. What does this book have to do with Odin and Odinism? It has everything to do with Odin and Odinism and Norse paganism. What does this have to do with any of that? Practically nothing.